He's convinced he's going to be vindicated by the accusations about the previous White House going after what is now his White House.
That's a report. I doubt he's ever said that he regrets.
No, I'm saying he doesn't regret it. Not only doesn't he regret it, he says he thinks he's going to be vindicated.
Well, let's see. We're going to have Kellyanne Conway with us in just a minute or two. What is the very latest from the White House? We'll find out. In the meantime, we've got some headlines with Heather Childers on this Monday.
Hey, Heather. Good morning. Just quickly, some headlines for you. Fox News alert. North Korea intensifying its show of force overnight, firing several missiles provocatively close to Japan. The U.S. strongly condemning the launches, calling it a violation of UN Security Council resolutions. The chilling intimidation tactic from the communist country coming just days after joint U.S.-South Korea military drills kicked off. And it is something that President Trump has promised since the start of his campaign.
We are going to repeal and replace Obamacare.
We're getting rid of Obamacare. It's going to be repealed and replaced.
I am also calling on this Congress to repeal and replace Obamacare.
And now sources tell Fox News that top Republicans are set to outline their Obamacare replacement plan as early as this week. The GOP promising a bill that protects Americans with pre-existing conditions, expands coverage options, and does away with the penalties for those who opt out of coverage. And House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi sticking by her story, still denying that she met a Russian ambassador despite this picture of the two sharing a meal. She insists that he was just part of the entourage.
The question is, have you met with him? No, I haven't met with him. I met with the president of Russia. Who else is in his entourage? Who knows? Presidents, heads of state come in, they bring their party, they barely even introduce them. So this is completely different.
As politicians mincing words, Pelosi has been leading the charge against Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who came under fire for not disclosing his meeting with the Russian ambassador. And finally, the Pope urging you to open the Bible as often as you use your cell phone. Addressing a packed St. Peter's Square following his weekly Blessing Sunday, the pontiff asked what would happen if we read the Bible the way we read text messages. The Pope is no stranger to social media either, using it frequently to reach out to the faithful. And that's a good question. Those are your headlines.
All right.
Good deal.
Thank you.
All right. So you know that the President of the United States was tweeting, and he said it looks like President Obama, the exact tweet was a head-scratcher. He said, just found out Obama had my wires tapped in Trump Towers just before victory. Nothing found. This is McCarthyism. I say head-scratcher because the left, the political left, is saying, what is he talking about? That could never happen. Well, now, on the cover of the New York Times, the FBI chief is pushing for the Justice Department to refute the claim. Essentially, what they're saying is James Comey is saying, hey, we look bad with this with FBI, so we've got to have the DOJ come out and say it never happened.
But there is something strange about this story. Why doesn't James Comey said it? Why doesn't the Justice Department have said it? And doesn't he know that there's this little thing called recusal? So you want Senator Sessions, now Attorney General Sessions, who just said, I'll recuse myself from the Russian investigation, to come out and go, yeah, James Comey called, and he didn't. It doesn't have anything. The wiretapping never happened with the NSA. Then, of course, it's a big trap. Well, then Senator Schumer will have a migraine, and Nancy Pelosi will have an embolism because he'll come out because he'll be crazed about that.
It puts him in a tough spot because if he comes out and talks, then he's sharing intelligence information with the rest of the country. And usually the spokespeople from the intelligence community don't come out and speak, even though he did in the fall, as we saw. So. But it's putting the president in a tough spot because there's someone within the White House that's leaking, someone within the intelligence community that is putting our country at risk. So both sides are put in a corner.
Right. Which is so astounding because you have people like Martha Raddatz going crazy because if. Well, all these Washington Post and New York Times stories are all if. If these senior officials even exist.
Right.
If, in fact, these senior officials are true. The 9 people that said they know. This is all innuendo. But all I know is this. It's damaging our credibility of the previous White House and this White House. And no one believes what the other one's saying. Not good for the country.
Just keep in mind, this James Comey story that is at the cover of the New York Times that everybody is talking about, there are no quotes from James Comey, and the Department of Justice and the FBI both declined to comment.
Right. So the president is saying, Congress, will you please investigate this? We want to see the warrants that were placed for the FISA, that gave a federal federal judge would give permission for his phone to be tapped. It was rejected in the summer. According to reports, it was approved in the fall. So if that happened, then they listened to Donald Trump's conversations with other countries, all of his conversations at Trump Tower.
You know, and when we had General Michael Hayden with us a little while ago, we asked the question, okay, so if there was a FISA warrant, could the President of the United States get his hands on it? And he said, well, maybe. And there is a story that apparently the White House counsel, Don McGahn, is trying to do that. We got Kellyanne Conway joining us right now from the White House. Kellyanne, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So what is the latest on this thing? Because everybody's going, he can't say that. Well, he says it because he thinks that there was this FISA warrant out there. What's the bottom of it?
Well, let's get to the bottom of it. That is the president's entire point. You have various incredible news sources showing that there was politically motivated activity all during the campaign and suggesting that there may be more there. I mean, I saw the different interviews over the weekend, and some people left open the possibility that maybe there were departments or agencies or individuals not under their direct purview where this could have taken place. But the president's entire point is that the people deserve to know. So why not include in the existing investigations into Russia this aspect, that whether or not this actually happened? The other thing that's going on here is we have this double standard for anonymous sources. The media love to use anonymous sources for anything and everything that could possibly be derogatory, negative for this president and his administration, and yet they refuse to give any credibility to such sources when it may be something positive or exculpatory. The other double standard is investigations. You have Democrats every single day saying, investigate, investigate, special prosecutors investigate. Well, then what are they afraid of here? Let's investigate this and see where it leads. So let's have the House and Senate Intelligence Committees do their work and think about whether to include this. But the president has made clear that he would like there to be an investigation of any possible abuses, and that hopefully that oversight activity will clarify for everyone.
When is the first time that you guys within the Trump camp, when you were the incoming administration, or when you were trying to become the next president, when he was trying to become the next president, when's the first time you heard about possible wiretaps in Trump Tower?
Well, I won't reveal that. I will just tell you that it's a big place, and I saw what former Attorney General Mukasey said yesterday on a different network, that he thinks it's probably right or correct that this would have happened. But again, if we don't know, then let's find out together. And then let's also start focusing on the many things that are going to happen this week. I know people, particularly on other networks, want to talk about this one thing. They don't want to talk about the amazing joint session speech where the president laid out his vision and was very specific in doing so. And then all the activity that's happening this week, a new executive order on travel today, certainly repealing and replacing Obamacare, infrastructure, tax reform is coming. There are many things that the American people are focused on that are very prominent in the Fox News polling and elsewhere that aren't being discussed because of this, frankly.
Now, Kellyanne, you said if we don't know at this point, so that's why you're calling for the investigation. But it sounds like, based on the tweets over the weekend, that the president does know that this happened to him. At least that's what he's claiming. How does he know that his phone was actually tapped?
Let me answer that globally. He's the president of the United States. He has information and intelligence that the rest of us do not. And that's the way it should be for presidents. I would note that, curiously, with the timing, the day after his amazing joint session, which everybody's polling and most honest analysts said was a complete home run for him, that the New York Times had a report that clearly showed that there was a rush to preserve and sprinkle intelligence information around the Obama administration toward the end of it. Now, we should ask why that is. And I would also say, you know, if we just, I certainly hope people out there are getting $50 every time they screen the word Russia, because it is just so ubiquitous. But imagine if you took the word Russia and at least shared some of the space in the punditry with leaks. This is about bureaucratic leaks. The concern for the president is that we have leaks in the intelligence and security community that imperils all of us. This is serious stuff.
A couple of things. Would you also say that some of the team that used to be around Donald Trump has not helped the President of the United States? When J.D. Gordon comes out and says, yeah, we did bring up a conversation about Russia at the convention. When it turns out that Paul Manafort was in a meeting when Russia was brought up at the convention. When it comes out that Senator Sessions doesn't remember meeting with the ambassador. When Carter Page says, we did talk about Russia at the convention. All these things might add up to nothing. But don't you believe they're hurting the president by not jogging their memory and coming forward with it?
They're a distraction more than harmful. No, I disagree. I mean, he got elected about 118, 19 days ago, and we still hear the Democrats and others screaming Russia every single day. It's attenuated. They haven't shown any connection. Many people are trying to redo the election results still. This man has been president for a while now, and he's going to continue to just move forward with his agenda.
You don't think those four people hurt the president?
I think the president knows why he's here and what he's doing with his agenda. Look, there's a selectivity out there as to what really gets the coverage, and certain things that some of us think are noise make the news. Other things that obviously are newsworthy get covered. But but again, how is this the president and those? I mean, I was the campaign manager until the end, and I was talking to people in Macomb County, Michigan, not Moscow. You know, and so people aren't even pointing to things that aren't there. You've got these attenuated connections and circumstances. And there's just nothing the Democrats every single day. You see these chyrons on the lower third on other networks where it's just all Russia all the time. What about investigating these bureaucratic, systematic leaks out of the intelligence and security community? I guess some of which are coming from holdovers. That's really dangerous to our nation, frankly, to all of us. That's not a partisan issue. That's a security and intelligence issue.
Kellyanne, on the other side of the break, we want you to stick around because we want to ask you about some of those comments that